All right. Good morning. Dr. William Painter here for Journey Road Ministries. Today is what is today? It's something after Pentecost. Proper 11. Okay, for the coming week, Proper 11. We'll do the gospel reading here in a minute. I've chosen the song today. It's a German song, and I learned it when I was taking German in college. And it has a wonderful history. It goes all the way back, to antiquity. Cicero's original words were an inspiration for it. And then it became quite popular during the German Peasant Wars, 1524, 1525, which were unsuccessful and brutal. And they were sort of a forerunner to the French Revolution and also a forerunner to the Reformation, in that this song references how your thoughts are free. Die Gedanken sind frei, the thoughts are free. And it seemed to me kind of appropriate for our own times and for the sermon that's going to follow. So without further ado, I'm going to sing it in German, and then I'll read the words in English. They don't match up exactly. If you want a really nice English version, look up Pete Seeger. He does a great version of it, and I would not diminish his legacy by trying to emulate that at all. So, Die Gedanken sind frei. Die Gedanken sind frei, wer kann sie erraten? Sie fliehen vorbei, die nackten Schatten. Kein Mensch kann sie wissen, kein Jäger sie schlichen, es blieb dabei, die Gedanken sind frei. Ich denke, was ich will und was ich denke, das alles in der Still und wie es sie schicket. Mein Wunsch und Begehren kann niemand verwehren, es bleibe dabei. Die Gedanken sind frei. Ich liebe den Wein, mein Mädchen vor allem. Sie tut mir allein am besten gefallen. Ich bin alleine bei meinem Glas Wein, meine Mädchen dabei. Die Gedanken sind frei. Und sperrt man mich ein im finsteren Kerker, das alles sind rein vergebleckte Werke, denn mein Gedanken, sie reisen, sie schranken und mauern sei. Die Gedanken sind frei. That's that one. Drum will ich auf immer den Songen sagen und will mich auch immer mit Quälen mehr plagen. Man kann ja im Herzen stets lachen und scherzen und denken dabei, die Gedanken sind frei. My thoughts are free. Who can guess them? They fly by like nocturnal shadows. No person can know them, no hunter can shoot them. So it'll always be, thoughts are free. I think what I want and what delights me, still always reticent, and as it is suitable, my wish and desire no one can deny me. So it'll always be, thoughts are free. I love wine, and my girl even more. Only her I like best of all. I'm not alone with my glass of wine. My girl is with me. Thoughts are free. And if I am thrown into the darkest dungeon, all these are futile works, because my thoughts tear all gates and walls apart. Thoughts are free. So I will announce my sorrows forever, and never again will torture myself with whimsies in one's heart. One can always laugh and joke and think at the same time. Thoughts are free. Love that song, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Welcome to the flip side. This is William Painter again, and this is the thoughts for the day. Our gospel reading comes from Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. Now as they went on their way, he entered a certain village, where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, so she came to him and asked, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need only of one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her." Thus endeth the gospel. Now, this little passage has been used for centuries to justify, in fact, during the medieval period, the fact that monks were the Mary part, and that the people who actually supported the church and tilled the fields and put food on the table and all that kind of stuff were the Martha part. So you could serve Jesus without taking up a monk's robe or a tonsure and be a Martha, which I think is a completely wrong-headed reading of this passage. First of all, Jesus doesn't rebuke either Mary or Martha. Even though Martha's busy fixing the table and doing all kinds of things, it's a banquet, and the food she's getting the food ready, and Mary's just sitting there listening to Jesus, and Martha's like, "Come on, man, help me out here, all right? Jesus, can't you tell her to get up and help me fix dinner?" And Jesus uses a pun, which is what he's really fond of doing. He uses a pun. The pun is, Mary has chosen the better portion, which references food, okay? Not just the better part, but the better portion. So she's chosen, of this banquet we have set before us, the spiritual banquet, she's chosen the better portion. Now, when my wife was talking to me before I started doing this today, and I told her, what the passage was about, she goes, "Somebody needed to help Martha." She said, if it hadn't been for Martha, nobody would be eating. And she's so right. She's a very practical point of view. But I was thinking, my thoughts ran along this vein. I knew a woman in a church I pastored, and she was like Martha. I mean, she was always doing this and always doing that, and I mean, there was no stopping her. There was no saying, "Hey, it's okay, sit down, take a break." She was busy, and she was one of the meanest human beings I have ever met. I mean, she was always whispering. So we'd bring someone new into the church, she'd whisper something really ugly and nasty in their ear when no one else could hear it, and we'd never see him again and wonder why. It's because she was not a nice person, all right? And so, but I wouldn't call her a Martha. I mean, she was Martha-esque, I suppose, Martha-like. But then I started thinking also about all these people who, I have a cousin, and his wife worked at the welfare agency in town, and she would help people get their welfare checks. They don't call them that anymore. I don't know what they call them. And she had such disdain for those poor people, those needy people, that actually her job depended on them being there, and she had nothing but disregard and disdain for them while she helped them get their money. Now, one way we think about it is that's kind of Martha-esque also, and that's what I want to focus on here. Is that, and I'll use myself as an example. We have neighbors that come over sometimes, and I clean the house, and I prepare the food, and I serve the food, and I clean up the food afterwards, and it's just it's a lot of work, depending on what I'm cooking and how dirty the house is, and so on. And my wife said, you should just sit down and relax and enjoy their company here. They didn't come here to see a clean house. They came here to see us. And you should just take a deep breath and sit down and relax a little bit. And that's exactly what Jesus is telling Martha, that you should focus on the guest that is here, the person that is here. And I think we suffer a lot by putting people in stereotypic pigeonholes and then responding to that stereotype, and instead of responding to the person. So I sat at the fair, Mills County Fair. I was sitting at the table doing my duty, Democrat table, that's what it was, and doing my duty, and nobody was there. Nobody was coming by. I was just sitting there reading my phone and doing this, that, and the other thing, and this guy comes up with his wife, and I'm like, oh boy, somebody to talk to. And he points to a book that we have. We were doing raffles. You fill out your name and address, and then you can put your name in for a book or a blanket or different stuff. And it gives us their name and phone number, so we can call them and say, hey, go vote. And in return for it, they might win something. So anyway, I thought, well, he said, well, what's this book here about? And I honestly had no idea. I hadn't exactly gone through and read the books, So I went around, I looked at it, and I said, oh, it's Not All Boys Are Blue, or something along those lines. And he said, what's that mean? And I said, well, I think it means that some boys are gay, and they're not blue. And he goes, so it's about the gay, is it? And I said, well, probably. And I said, but maybe you're not interested in that. He was an older gentleman, so not likely to have any boys running around his house. And he said, well, what about this blanket? Is it a rainbow blanket? And I said, well, I don't know. It's just a blanket that has colors on it. Maybe, I don't know. No one said, here's a rainbow blanket. They just, here's a blanket, And we did have rainbow flags out there. We're quite proud to support LGBTQ plus community. And he goes, you've stolen God's rainbow. And I'm kind of losing my patience with this guy, right? And and he's really obnoxious. And he said, "This is just you're the party of gay." And I thought, well, okay. So I don't, we're the party of a lot of things, and that's not a bad thing. He said, this gay, 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 gay. And I said, we didn't steal God's rainbow. God lent it to us so that we can help protect his LGBTQ children. Oh, he hated that. So you stole it. So, how do you steal a rainbow? I can sing a rainbow. There's a song like that, but you can't steal a rainbow. And I think what he meant is we have appropriated it, but it's a rainbow. And it's appropriated in a good way because we're thinking about that person, not what's right or wrong or what's the process is. We're not trying to be a Martha here. We're trying to be a Mary. And I was trying to be a Mary to this guy because I was trying to focus on him as a person, not whether he was anti-gay or whether he was a Republican or whether he was a whatever pigeonhole I can put him in and then deal with that. I was trying to deal with him as a human being. And I finally asked him, I said, at what point did you choose to be straight? I mean, at what point? You remember when you chose to be straight? Because he was saying this was a lifestyle choice, being gay. And I said, when did you choose? When did you make that choice? When did you make that choice? And, well, of course, he had no answer because nobody makes that choice, or few do, I think. I mean, I suppose there are some folks who are kind of fluid and who choose this or who choose that. But I never chose to be a straight white male. I was born this way, okay? I was born a white male, and I never had to question my sexuality or who I was attracted to. I always liked girls, always liked women. Never occurred to me anything else. Never occurred to me, and I'm lucky. Because I was never confronted with, am I different? Am I like these people? Am I not like these people? I think that we need to. I would strongly suggest that what we need to do is look at the guest in our home, the guest in our house, and not worry so much about whether they're eating or not eating, or whether the food's right, or whether the floor is dirty, or whether they chose or didn't choose. We need to listen to them as people, as genuine human beings. We need to listen to them. We need to sit at their feet, and we need to listen to them and genuinely authenticate their existence as a child of God, and not some stereotype that we're trying to pigeonhole. And I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't use terms like LGBTQ or trans this or trans that. And I'll be real honest with you, I don't understand a lot of that. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I wasn't raised with that. There were, as I'm fond of saying, there were no gay people in my high school, when in fact we know that there were plenty. They just hid. And there were no trans people. There were no, they were. And they were just hidden. And we kept them hidden. And so we're so busy, making the banquet that we don't see the person sitting there. And I think this passage, Jesus says, don't worry about so many things. Worrying never solves anything. Worrying never saves an hour off your life. It never adds an hour to the time that's been given to us. And right along with the whole lilies of the field and God knows about the sparrows and the hairs on your head, he's trying to bring comfort to us by saying, yeah, the food is great, the food is nice, but you know what's really important? Us, here in this room, we are what's important. I think we could do a lot more of that kind of thing, of recognizing, like this woman, first woman I spoke of, who was, classic Martha, always busy, always doing stuff, always cooking, always cleaning, always, things around the church. And she was just an awful person. And I mean, she was mean. She's just mean. And she, but by contributing to the church, well, she was doing a good thing. So, you can't be critical of her. She prevented anybody from being critical. She overcompensated. She was doing things that were needful things. But I think we should have called her out. I think we should have said, no, stop. You're not allowed to do that anymore. You have to focus on the people. So maybe we should have said, you're the greeter. You get to greet all the new people in the church and let somebody else worry with cleaning up afterwards. Those are my random thoughts today. I hope you have a safe week. COVID's coming back. New version. What is this, part 5? Wear a mask. Keep socially distant. Take care of yourselves. And focus on the person in the room, because that's what's important. Food will take care of itself. God bless. I'll see you in 3 weeks.